your objective is. So when you have a strategy for social media and you're looking to grow as a small business, it's important that you be strategic about how you put your funds so that you have enough money in your paid initiative to support your goals.
Welcome back to For Entrepreneurs by Entrepreneurs. I am Eric Verdi. This week is episode 9. And joining us this week is Angela Ostroff, a longtime friend of mine, kind of a social media ninja. Her company, Barely Marketing, is located in California. However, with the world today, it doesn't really matter where she's located. I'm on the East Coast. She's on the West Coast. We've worked together for about 5.5, 6 years now. She can run any type of campaign you need, any type of website you need designed, funnel. We started out together as Facebook. She's moved to Instagram. She is awesome. She's a great resource. Her company, when I started with her about 5 or 6 years ago, I think I was like client number like 87 or 82 or something like that. And she's got over 400 or 500 clients now. Is that right?
Many. Yeah. I think the passage of time, I think you were more like in the first 20, I think, actually.
Was it that? Okay.
Really early. Yeah. Maybe it was just when you started and then 6 months later there was 80. So,
I love it. So Angela's been a resource for us and for me for a very long time. I consider her a friend, and they are not a fly-by-night company. I can tell you that. They are very serious in what they do. She's got certain employees that manage certain different aspects of social media. So she has, we always talk about all For Entrepreneurs by Entrepreneurs. We have our SuperPower. We're interviewing Angela about her superpower. Well, she's got people on her team that have very, very niche specific superpowers. So Angela, I know it's a long introduction.
That's okay.
So welcome to For Entrepreneurs by Entrepreneurs. Give our listeners and viewers your backstory and then exactly what business are you in?
Sure, absolutely. So, when I first started in social media marketing, I didn't really have the intention to build a company. It wasn't really something I was thinking about. I was just looking to get into something new, work for myself, like most people with a dream of, getting out there and trying something. So it was just me and my laptop and, trying to convince people they should let me post on Facebook, and a few people said yes, fortunately. So started doing that, noticed I had a real affinity for connecting with people. It was very easy for me to talk to business owners. I was very comfortable helping them represent their brand, really getting a quick understanding of what they needed and being able to work with them one-on-one. After just a few months, I had so many clients that there was absolutely no way that I could possibly do everything for them that myself. So I said, well, I guess I should get an employee and then they can help. And then I said, oh, if I have an employee, I need an office. And so I got an office, and, things happened very quickly. It was in the first year that I met Eric. And, these things start growing. We've always focused it on small to medium-sized businesses, people who are just getting started, or businesses or entrepreneurs who don't have a big team. So they, really need to be very strategic with how they bring on resources and who those people are. And because there's such a large community of businesses that fit that sort of that avatar, we've always had a large audience of potential clients, so we grew very rapidly. These days, like Eric said, we do very specifically focus the team around very specific specialties. It's really important because a lot of people think within social media it's all just one thing, but actually the content versus the paid advertising versus the copy on the website versus the blog, product photography, all of these things that make up a social media presence are actually all very unique, and they require a very specific set of skills. So on our team, we do have specialists that are dedicated to one area to make sure that we're delivering the best, most professional experience for our clients. These days, mostly I kind of oversee the whole picture. I do work with some clients still individually. But for the most part, I spend my time sort of looking at how we can be more efficient as a team, how we can provide better value to our clients, and how we can really help people understand how they can be successful on social media. There's a lot of misunderstandings about what social media marketing can and can't do. There's still a lot of ideas that if we spend $5 a day our business will be dramatically improved by being on social media. And in some cases that's true, but in many cases it's a bit more strategic than that. It takes a real solid strategy and a real investment in order to meet one's goals. And so when we work with clients and when I'm looking at the company as a whole, I'm looking at ways, how can we make sure that we are connecting potential clients and current clients with the absolute service they need, with the right ad spend, with the right platform management to help them meet their goals while still being strategic with their budget.
Awesome. So I'm going to throw Angela a curveball here.
Oh boy.
So you have amazed me. I'm in awe of how your company has grown. So your superpower today that we're going to talk about is hiring and cultivating a culture and a team. Okay. Yes, I would love for you, we're going to go back to social media and the different platforms, but I want you to talk because I think you do really have a superpower of bringing your team together. I know some of your members, some of your team members have been there pretty much since I've been with you. How do you cultivate a culture where people want to stay and want to help the clients?
Sure. So, I mean, I think when it comes down to it with hiring, there's a lot of things that people can say or do during an interview, during any type of interview process that, you know, may not always tell you exactly what you're looking for. Or they may be telling you just what they want you to be looking for, and you may miss what you're actually looking for. So one takeaway I always have is that when I'm interviewing, whether it's the screening process, whether it's a video interview, whether it's an in-person interview, whether they're doing some sort of, you know, practical activity so I can see kind of their creative skills, I'm always looking for things that maybe are answers to questions I didn't ask, or I'm looking for information that wasn't something that I was, you know, asking them that they were expecting and had a prepared answer for. So what does that mean? What that means to me is that you learn a lot more.
Kind of like I just did right now?
Yeah. What it means is you learn more about a person by getting something from them that wasn't planned, and it comes from a more organic, authentic place. So if you have someone who mentions, you know, I mean, what could it be? If they're talking about how they love to stay busy and they're always, you know, interested in, they like to read this and they see this and they do this. Well, that's all well and good. And what you're hearing is, oh, you're productive. Oh, that's great. Oh, you know, you love to stay engaged. But hey, do you have trouble getting distracted? Like, you know, and they're like, oh, what do you mean? And you're like, do you have problems focusing? You know what I mean? Like you might see something that that wasn't necessarily what you were going for, but because they're bringing up something else, you're looking for what is that unknown thing, that extra piece of information that wasn't what they intended to give you, but it's the part that you caught because you're just trying to get to know them as a person. So that those unexpected pieces of information are super valuable. Beyond that, I would say the biggest thing is that there's a difference between the things you can teach someone and there's things that you can't. You can't teach someone to have integrity. You can't teach someone to be a hard worker. You can't teach a positive attitude. Those are things that are never, you know, teachable. And when you're really building a team, if you're building a team in like a marketing company where obviously the primary skill is marketing, right? Well, you can teach someone to be better at marketing, but you can't teach them to be more positive. Or you can't teach them to be someone who is like, shoot, I forgot to send that email. I better go back to my computer and make sure I send it before I leave because I don't want that person to be disappointed. So when you're really interviewing someone, don't get so hung up on, are they really good at this? Are they really good at this thing I'm trying to hire them to do? Because you're going to have a really hard time proving that, whether they are or not during an interview. You're really kind of guessing. What you should really be asking yourself, are they the kind of person that is going to want to be better at this type of thing? And will they try hard? And will they be honest? And will they act with integrity? And will they, you know, will they represent the company the way I'm hoping they will? And even that, you're still kind of guessing. Let's be honest. Can't predict everything. But I always hire for the type of individual I would want to spend my time with and who I think will represent the company well. And then have the confidence in myself and the system overall to say, well, I can teach them the hard skills, but the soft skills, just their humanity, let's call it, they show up with that. And that's what you're really looking for.
I love it. I love it. So let's go back to the social media aspect.
Okay.
Give us the evolution. When we started out, it was big with Google AdWords, and Facebook was kind of in middle stages. Where do you see social media going? And let's specifically talk for small to medium-sized businesses. Where's the most bang for the buck now? And what is something that everybody should be doing?
Sure. I mean, everything about social media is about the paid component. Um, Content is super critical to support the paid elements of social campaigns, but it is the paid element that matters. The reality is that Facebook wants your money. That's what they're there to do. They serve your ads the way that makes them the most money. They serve content in a way that leads the best profit for their paid campaigns. It's all related to that at the end of the day. And there's nothing wrong with that, but understand that when you're using social media as a business, you have to work with what it's there to do and understand Facebook's objective, which is to make money the same way your objective is. So when you have a strategy for social media and you're looking to grow as a small business, it's important that you be strategic about how you put your funds so that you have enough money in your paid initiative to support your goals and not put into money into areas that are not going to lead to them. So it may feel really good to have a post on Instagram every single day, but if your ultimate objective is to sell shoes, you're still going to need you're going to need paid campaigns in order to get that done. For me, I don't see any benefit to advertising on LinkedIn or Twitter or Pinterest the way that you would on Facebook and Instagram. There's definitely appropriate opportunities for that, but there's ways that you can work with Facebook and Instagram that are so much more cost effective, particularly for new businesses, that spending money on those other platforms, it doesn't really even just make sense, because at the end of the day, your brand is not really on Pinterest because you want to build a community. I mean, we may say that, we all say that, I want a community, but really at the end of the day, I want a community that's going to become a paying client and is going to help me grow my business. So you need to be focused on where you're actually going to have revenue generating activities. And that's really, really only Facebook and Instagram.
So I agree with most of what you just said.
Okay.
And actually, I'm a practitioner of Facebook. I don't do much on Instagram. And I think as a small business owner myself, you need to kind of find your voice and find the platform that kind of suits what you're going for. Are you big into pictures, big into images, big into written word, big into video? I've been told for years I need to get on LinkedIn and, start being more active there. Have I done it? No, I've got a profile and 2 followers, but, I've found a majority of my time goes towards writing, towards my community. So to your point of running paid advertising, what I've kind of found myself is that, yes, Facebook and Instagram, they can like change their algorithm and your post cannot be seen or your ad might not be performing like it like did prior. But it's always about growing that community, growing that list, because we had talked about in the pre-interview about doing a group, and I need to capture those emails we talked, because I need to be able to control that group. If Facebook changes something, I need to have access to the people in my group, in my community. So yes, I think there's a second layer, a second component to it. Yes, you need to have the paid advertising, the upfront portion, but you also need to nurture that community on the back end, right?
Mm-hmm. What I meant was that if someone wants to build a group like you do, which is a really good, important thing. I was more just saying that without the paid side to fuel it, without taking advantage of the way Facebook wants you to use Facebook, it's a bit harder to meet those goals. The group, you don't have to, your only activity on social media doesn't need to just be paid activity at all. What I mean is that if you want to generate revenue, make sure that you're investing however you invest in activities that will lead to that goal, however they may be.
Right. All right. So before you started Barely Marketing, what did you do?
Sales.
For?
I worked for a custom furniture company for about 15 years.
Okay. And you just stumbled into, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur one day, or you got fired, or what happened? Like, give us a story.
I admittedly was not a very good employee. I don't listen extraordinarily well, and I don't follow necessarily other people's directions as well. Maybe now, years later, in my later years, I've simmered down a bit, but wasn't necessarily someone who was going to move into a career where I was going to start over at the ground level and be receptive to helping build someone else's empire in a very flexible way. I think I kind of knew who I was and what I wanted to do, and what was inspiring to me, and it made sense to sort of pursue independence, I guess, as a path.
Gotcha. All right. So last big question. Okay. You know who Russell Brunson is, right?
Mm-hmm.
ClickFunnels.
Mm-hmm.
So he had a bunch of entrepreneurs and successful ClickFunnel users or whatever. And he had asked them, like, if you were dropped off on a desert island and had to get started from scratch with just your laptop, like what would those 30 days look like? So if you could give advice to a small business owner or entrepreneur, like what does that first week look like when they come to you? Okay, when you get a new client in, what is there a client intake? Is it looking at their posts? Is it like what does a new client that first week to 2 weeks look like for you?
I think the most important thing when a client is brand new, when they're starting brand new to social media, or retooling an old campaign and looking for a fresh start with a new resource, it's really about their online presence. What is happening on their website? How easy is it to use? Does it explain what they do? Is it easy for people to purchase or get in contact, fill out a form? Does the offer make sense? Is it easy to take advantage of? So all of those questions, because with social media, it's really there to support the online presence that a brand has, and to be, a further way to bring traffic to the website, right? Because the website is how majority of people find us these days. So making sure that the client has a online experience that professionally represents them and allows their intended audience to take action, that's probably the biggest thing. So when a client is new, we, are learning about them and their brand and their goals, getting, their assets, logins, all those things are super important. But the biggest question is typically, what's your online presence look like, and how is social media going to help that? And here's the things that we have to change for social media to be able to help you. Because if we're not here, no matter how much we do over here, I'm pointing now, there's things happening. You can want this to happen as much as you want it to happen, but we've got to make sure that you're prepared for success. And, we can send traffic to your website all day long, but if it's not an experience that's engaging, your campaigns are never going to have efficacy, because your online destination isn't ready for it. So I think making sure people are set up from day one is very important.
Awesome. So who is your ideal customer, your ideal client?
I think it's something that's been a lot more clear the last few weeks as we've been all going through very interesting time. And obviously a lot of businesses have struggled, and reacted differently to things. I would say for me, in the clients that I work with one-on-one, I guess I would say most specifically, is kind of what you and I talked about, is, having the kind of synergy where we all know we're here to do the same thing, we're on the same page. And even if you're paying me to help you market your business, you should know that my desire for your success is very strong and authentic, and that I'm here to advise you in an honest, realistic way. And if you can be open to my advice and you can trust me to do what you hired me to do, and we can have a healthy relationship with good communication, and you can actually let me take marketing off your hands and trust the process, we're going to have a good time, and I'm not going to steer you wrong. But somebody who maybe isn't going to be receptive, or says, yeah, I get it, and then have their own little secret dialogue going on, it's very hard to authentically help someone with their marketing, particularly social media, because it does have such an intimacy, because social media has so much, humanity in it versus, other forms of advertising, that if we're not going to agree to be a team, we're going to have a hard time being successful. And I don't care how big or small the company is, or how much they spend or don't spend. I would much rather spend my time with people who can put their trust in someone else and want to learn and grow and, have a great experience. And I like to be part of that and see that happen.
Awesome. So Angela, how would listeners, viewers find you, learn more about Barely Marketing, find out what type of programs and what type of social that you advertise on?
Yeah, barelymarketing.com, which is Bearly. So barely like the bear, not barely like we're barely marketing, although, the pun has been used, but don't use it.
I love it. And you're on Facebook, Instagram, all that fun stuff?
Yes.
Awesome. Any parting words for our guest, for our listeners? I'm sorry, you are our guest.
No, I think that, Eric and I were talking about this before, you and I were talking about this before we started the conversation, is talking about how, everything has happened over the last couple of months is really, caused people to really reevaluate what they're doing and be very fluid and, adapt to this time. And as hard as this is and stressful as it is, it's always nice to have an opportunity to, whether we chose to have this opportunity or not, I think it's healthy to reflect on the direction you're going and look at the way you're doing things with your business and ask yourself questions about, is this what I should be doing? Is there changes I should make? And so I'm trying to look at this all as an opportunity to learn and grow and be stronger for it. And if that can be a takeaway that other people can have as well, then, I think we'll all be better off hopefully very soon.
Love it. Love it. That was Angela Ostroff, episode 9 of For Entrepreneurs by Entrepreneurs. If your company, if you are a small business and you need some help social media wise, I know Angela will talk to you, have a member of her team talk to you, reach out to you, kind of look at you and where you're going now, and you give her the big vision. She tells you, okay, you need to do this step to get there. And it's always an open dialogue with her and her team. That's one of the benefits and joys that I've had working with her, is that they're always just an email or phone call away. A very professional company, on top of being a good friend. So Angela, thank you for joining episode 9 of For Entrepreneurs by Entrepreneurs, and we are out.